Friday.
Is it?
I think.
Yep.
I haven't looked at the moon location lately, but that would probably give us some sort of...
We were watching some TV show last night. It's terrible. Actually, it's called The Affair. So the last season of The Affair is the worst yet. It actually goes into science fiction, if you can imagine this. Anyway, someone makes a comment about they can see the moon, and they're like, "Oh, it's a day moon. This is really unusual." And I paused it, and I was like, "Is it?" So I looked it up, and you can see the moon in the day just as many days as you can see it during the night.
Here's another pro tip for you. You can also see the stars if that sun wasn't shining.
It's just like, no, but it was like they pointed it out like it was something special, and I was like, having lived a long life, I've seen the moon a lot during the day. Is that special?
Yeah.
No, it's not even one day special.
Anyways, here we are, kicking things off. So, as I told
Yes,
Paul
we do.
and the listening audience right outside here, whoever, whatever it's called, I totally lost my train of thought. I was reading the chat room. And
Zoom, something.
I was reading the chat room and trying to talk, which is always a bad thing. But somebody
That's
says
why I stopped doing that a long time ago.
Yeah, somebody says I need to put a D-brand skin on my furnace, which would be hilarious. Like if, like, can you imagine?
Right.
So, like the guy comes to.
Hold on, I got the perfect one. If you're gonna do it, you got to make it look like one of those like tunnel things in Super Mario Brothers.
Oh my god!
You know, like those 8-bit bricks or whatever.
Well, I just imagine, like, so we get, even though it's brand new, like part of our lifetime warranty of our parts and labors is that we have to have it serviced every year. No big deal.
Okay.
Like that's.
Yeah, to ensure that it's in compliance with whatever.
Yeah, effectively what it is, for people who care or don't care, is there's a 10-year, like, main year, like, I don't know, whatever it works out to is like everything is covered forever as long as we pay roughly like $120 a year, which you're kind of figuring after so many years, like they'll probably break even, whatever. I'm just imagining the guy coming to service this thing, and he like opens the door to like the mechanical room, and he's just like, "You got a carbon fiber unit? What is this?"
Or whatever. That's the wrong game. Anyway, you get the idea.
Anyway, so if people, is there an echo? People hear an echo? I don't know. Maybe.
You could.
If you hear banging, that's people outside my house. No, I can't control that. Anyways, what I was gonna say is my kid is now using Teams, and or not using Teams, using Zoom. I'm trying to do too many things here. This is just. Terrible.
Brad, do you want me to tell the story?
You want to start over again? Let's just. Okay, I'm gonna look at the camera and explain what I was trying to say. My kid's school uses Teams, like that's what they use at school for internal collaboration. And we all know what happened; everything hit the fan, and they've been trying to use Teams with the teacher and then all the kids externally. Teams sucks at that. It does. And so what I was telling Paul right before this, I'm very happy they're now using Zoom for the external conversations because all you need is a 9-digit number. My daughter can open up the iPad and go, "Oh, these are the numbers," and then she's in the thing. Now, the reason why they did this, I believe, is after 4th grade at their school, like they use Teams for literally everything. And the big difference here is that all of those kids actually have an Active Directory ID, whereas, well, they're just
as any 4th grader should.
Yeah, I mean, they're all just O365 subscribers at that point, right? And then all the kids from basically 4th and under are just peasants, and they don't get Office 365 accounts, which is why it's been a struggle, and I'm happy they're using Zoom. And that is why I drink. This is water, though. How are you feeling?
You know.
Here we are.
Yeah. I mean, what do you mean I'm here?
I don't know. I don't know.
We should take that as the victory that it is. And just,
As is tradition in Microsoft world, Active Directory runs everything. If you don't have one, you're screwed. That's effectively what it is.
You know, I have to say, one thing I've been paying a little more attention to recently is my kind of Fitbit data.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's got to be depressing.
Yeah, well, it is. But that's sort of why I've been, paying attention to it because, I want to make sure I'm not. Anyway, my average resting heart rate went up really dramatically over the past 7 weeks. And then it was getting to the point where I'm like, if this is going to be 10 higher than normal, I'm going to have to call the doctor. This is this is not good. And then this week, somehow, starting literally on Sunday, it's gone down. And as of today, it's back where it was in the beginning. I had 6 weeks of elevated heart rate every day. Every day. and I don't know what changed.
Yeah,
But
I was gonna say, were you installing a Windows update, but that's not really applicable here.
no, this is like again, and you can. I don't know. This Fitbit data is either accurate or isn't, but I mean,
right.
I'm looking back at it and it's like, Jesus, like this is not good. But like I said, like and it kind of crept down like one, maybe even two each day this week, and now it's exactly where it was, like where it should be.
It's a good thing, I think. Maybe we can fix that with some
Microsoft news.
Let's
talk about Microsoft's continued non-use of Grammarly and how it impacts their publicly facing blog posts.
So funny enough, so Shane Young writes a post for us on Petri once a month. It's called Everything You Need to Know About Office 365.
You let him write posts?
Yeah, I do. It's crazy.
You've met this guy?
Yeah, he actually lives close to me. But you'll appreciate this. You'll appreciate this. Yeah. And so he talks about the editor feature, and he's like, I ran this through the editor, and then I pasted it into WordPress for Brad, and then I ran it through Grammarly, and it found like 9 more mistakes. So, take it for what you will. Like
I've identified things in Microsoft blog posts that I know are caused by them not using Grammarly. You would think that using like the desktop version of Microsoft Word should provide you with the very best possible spelling, grammar, and then just writing checker, because obviously it goes far beyond spelling and grammar checking now. It's kind of amazing. It doesn't. And, we talked about this a little bit before, I'm sure, but I'm always really impressed, and not in a good way, when I paste into the WordPress form that we use to enter articles, how many things Grammarly catches.
It's really surprising. And I can understand the business meeting where Microsoft sat down and said, should we buy Grammarly? It had to have happened if it hasn't yet.
Yeah.
And they said, look, we've got this editor feature. We can pull it out and make it a browser, and it should be just fine. And they all went, yeah, that's great. Let's go do that. And they said, hey, this worked with Teams, right? We all sat down and said, should we buy Slack? No, we've got this tooling. We'll go build it. Sometimes you win, Teams. Sometimes you lose. And
you're right. That's exactly right. Yep. And by the way, look, it can only get better, and I don't say that sarcastically, but maybe I do. But it literally can only get better, and so it probably will get better over time. But the reason I brought up the desktop version of Word is because Microsoft's been in this game for 40 years now, whatever that is, 30 plus years. They should be the best. Grammarly should exist because fewer people are using Word, and they're writing directly into online forums. That should be why it's there. And if it wasn't as good as Word, that'd be fine. The fact that it is dramatically better than anything that Microsoft has should be alarming to people at Microsoft. And it should be alarming to anyone that uses their products.
Actually, Hayden in the chat room has a great comment. He says, who needs grammar when you have cask strength?
Nice. Someone's paying attention to your Scotch purchases, I say.
Which I think since you've sent it to me, I'm on my maybe third bottle of
it's
Abunda, or however you pronounce it.
It's that's how I pronounce it. That's almost certainly not correct, but Scottish. But yes, this is the problem with this stuff. It's a slippery slope. Like it's like when if you ever buy a luxury car, you can't go and get a Corolla.
Yeah.
This is really good Scotch. It's really high quality. There are things I think there are happy middle grounds, like the Balvenie 12s. You like, I think Oban is one.
Well, let's be clear. I like just about everything from that family. But yes, I mean,
okay. But I mean, there are. Picky. If you're concerned with drinking Scotch more than occasionally, there are more affordable choices that are really good. But that is just, I've still never.
Abunda is by. You even sent me another bottle, which I haven't finished yet.
Probably. Yeah.
I think it was for my birthday last. And it's not bad. It's same from Apple, or it's fine. But like.
Yeah. Oh, the other one. Yeah, that's right, because it was a different one.
Yeah,
that one I think I got in... did I get that in Europe?
Yeah, you might have, back when we could travel.
I think I might have. I don't remember. It's the one with the gray sleeve on the outside or whatever.
Yep. It's fine, but it's just...
It's
like you're looking at like lobster and a steak, and you're like...
Yes. Sometimes you're in the mood for the other, but, it's...
Yeah. Speaking of things passing through, because we weren't actually talking in any capacity about that, there's a whole bunch of Surface stuff passing through the FCC lately, including the earbuds and everything else. So if you've been waiting...
What's the latest on the rumors about an announcement date for this stuff? It's like next week, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be soon. I mean, I'm still firmly in the camp that this stuff was supposed to have launched by now. And but anyways, so that's that. And then
what would have... Well, I mean, what do you? Obviously, there's a Surface Go 2.
Yeah, Surface
There's a
Book
Surface Pro or a Book 3.
3, and I think we might see
Probably the headphones. Sorry, the earbuds.
the earbuds. Well, there was headphones too. There were Surface
Like a second gen headphone.
headphones passed through, and then maybe a dock potentially.
Maybe the dock with the USB-C. Yeah.
Yeah, which if that realistically minus
That's a pretty big launch event if it's
Right.
all that stuff.
right
you know?
minus the earbuds. I was gonna say because technically those were always whatever. We know the story behind that.
Yeah.
All that other stuff that's not minor. I mean that's
No, that's pretty significant. I mean,
It's a
it's not
healthy
quite
event.
to the level of the, 3 major devices like they released last fall, but it's pretty damn close.
And now I'm gonna make another promise, Paul.
Mhm.
If they come out with the Surface headphones 2
Okay.
and they don't work with the Xbox, I will be drinking on this podcast yet again.
I'd like to see, if I used to wear Bose over the ear, the big can things, and
Yeah.
then they were so hot they would make my ears sweat. And then they had the padded ones that kind of sat on the outside, but but had the big loop and everything, and those were okay. And then eventually I went the in ear, and now of course they have wireless, whatever. But if they're going to make these big things, I wish they would do the kind that kind of Princess Leia'd you up instead of having the big whatever they're called, cans. I don't know.
I don't mind like the over like that's what I play with now.
Yeah.
But I would
Well,
like to
'cause
use the Surface
I
headphones.
don't like not hearing the outside. Because I could be I would be like startled by things happening around me.
So mine is I can't say it's too intentional because what I'm blocking out is usually my kids screaming, so or just being a kid, and it's like Daddy needs to hear grenades, not you screaming.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it quite that way.
Right, which is why I'm saying it on a podcast that's streaming to hundreds of people right
Yeah.
now. Anyway, so Apple also released earnings yesterday. Not
Right.
terrible, but I also think it's probably fair to say that the biggest impact of the things going on right now, especially from a hardware purchasing perspective, are going to impact this quarter rather than last quarter.
I really expected them to be down overall. They were up 1% overall, so 1% to me is flat, but whatever.
Right. Especially at their scale, it's rounding.
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways you can report this. Like Mehdi focused on the positive, the services and the wearables were up, and wearables. I think a lot of people hear wearables and they think Apple Watch. That's all AirPod. For one
Yeah,
thing.
the AirPod Pros came
Yeah,
out.
those things sell. I don't have no idea why, but they sell so amazingly well. To me, the bigger story is iPad, iPhone, and Mac sales were all down, despite. And this is year over year, not quarter over quarter. So, yeah, I know that maybe a month of that time was coronavirus influenced or whatever, but they usually see. I mean, I know there have been exceptions, but they usually see pretty big growth. And I was under the impression that this past season's iPhones were well received and were selling very, very well. So that's interesting. And I don't know. I'm not saying it's negative. It's all negative, but I mean, compared to what I thought was going to happen, it's certainly a positive. I thought it was going to be a lot worse.
Oh, so I got to bring this up, and my wife's going to hate me for this.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean to bring this up to say my wife isn't like aware of the obvious, but you're gonna see where I'm going.
Thank you for presenting it that way.
You're gonna see where I'm going.
Now I can't wait to hear what this
Yes.
is. Yep.
So as we know, in October, November, whenever it was, we talked about this. I got my wife the new iPhone for Christmas. Maybe it was Christmas. Yeah, it was Christmas. So It's been since December, right? And my wife in the springtime and the summertime runs like that. She gets mad at, not just kidding, but she goes in and running, right? She's always been kind of a runner, and she does that to stay healthy. And so one of the challenges is like her little arm thing that she puts her phone in is no longer the correct size.
Right.
But there's also other problems now because she went from an iPhone 7 to an 11, and her watch does not have GPS or LTE on it. Sorry. It's just the basic Apple Watch. And she's like, hey,
so
I want
she has to bring the phone basically.
Right. But she can't right now. And so she said, hey, I need to go buy the arm sleeve so that I can listen to music while running again. I'm like, and how are you going to listen to music? And she's like, I'm just going to plug my headphones in. Let that sit for a minute.
I can't make fun of this because own wife to switch to the Galaxy S20, whatever it's called. She had been using an 8 Plus for a long time. She spent days. I mean days configuring this thing, right? Mm-hmm. There was a Samsung utility that transferred over a bunch of stuff, but she had to do so much more. And then she's always had trouble getting things like Fitbit going where it syncs everything correctly. And she likes to see text messages on her wrist and stuff. And but one of the early problems she had was the headphone thing. It's because she came back into my office and she was like literally holding her headphones and holding her phone, and she goes, "How do I make this happen?"
Yeah.
Now, of course, I have an organized system, mm-hmm. and I have divided these things into bags, and so I have USB-C audio devices in a bag.
Yeah.
So I pulled it out and I said, "Look, I've got over half a dozen of these things." But I said, here's the problem. It's USB-C. So we're going to have to sit here and manually try these until we find one that works for you.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking. It wasn't until the fourth one that we found that one worked
Wow. Yeah,
because she would plug in the other ones and it literally, Android would pop up a little thing that said device not recognized. And then I said, that doesn't mean it doesn't work, mm-hmm. except that's exactly what I meant.
Yeah. And then, so the conversation went down. It's like, okay, well, why don't you just go buy like the whatever ones like that are wireless? And she's like, and then
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your story.
No, you're fine. I mean, it's the same thing. Like you don't think about those things until they're an issue. And like, I didn't even contemplate that when I bought her the phone, that she would need to be able to plug in headphones while running.
It sells that little dongle thing, which by the way, I have in a bag of Lightning audio accessories.
Yeah.
Probably have at least 3 of those because I'm compulsive, but my wife.
Which is great because her phone didn't come with one, by the way. So it's just.
Yeah, I think they only did that the first year and then they stopped providing, but they sell it. It's Apple. It's probably $15 or $20, but whatever it is, it's. I think we're at the point. Running, I don't know because I don't run, but it seems like wireless would be a good choice. She might want the kind that still has the band on it, so if it falls out of her ear, it kind of it doesn't get lost. I have them here. So I use these like when I walk with an Android device. These are the Google things. These used to come in the box with Pixels, and you can buy them. And I think they're probably $20. They're cheap. I think they're just called Pixel USB-C earbuds.
Yeah.
They have this kind of cool. They're wired, but they have the little loop deal, so you can kind of pull that tight if to fit it to your ear size. And that's what she started using. One of those. It just seems to work. That doesn't help your wife, but
no, I mean I'll
sorry.
Let her know. But anyway, so that was a fun little thing, I guess, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So.
Months later, though. Oh, because it's getting warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this hit my wife within a few days.
Yeah. We're not a big headphone family until we need them. Until actually all of this actually.
I just got rid of so much stuff too. I kept, some stuff when I reorganized in here. And like I said, I literally had to go through multiple dongles, and we finally found one that worked. And then she was like, I'll just use different headphones.
And that's how Apple sells AirPods, because you're like,
Yeah, that probably is. But
no, probably it realistically is. They've got a billion of these devices. They said, hey, let's just start turning that little wrench. That's why their services were up some. Well, the services were probably because everyone's stuck at home. But
well, I don't use these things, but the AirPod Pros seem to be the first version that makes any sense because they have different tips and you can kind of adapt them to your ear. I understand that the new gen normal AirPods will have that as well. I think that's smart. I use these Samsung things, which are bigger. If you can even see that, so it's all whited out. But never mind. Anyway, you get the idea. But I wouldn't run in them because I just feel like they just go flying off my head.
So I don't know. Smartphone sales fell. Not too surprising. That might be a trend we see.
Like Apple, this quarter is going to be worse.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be the new normal for a while.
Yeah. Where did I read this? I think it was something to do with Samsung when they had their announcement. They had predicted. They had sort of said, look, it's going to be bad for a while. But the other thing that's happening is this pent up demand. And once all the lockdowns are lifted and we return to some form of normalcy, they said sometime by the end of this year, there's going to be a quarter where smartphone sales go through the roof and are historically high. And it's going to be from the pent up, whatever it is, quarter, 2 quarters, whatever we're going to experience. And that's kind of interesting. And if you look at it from a full year perspective, if we're lucky, maybe it won't be that down, for that market, at least for smartphones,
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it sounds good on paper that people are just sitting there and not upgrading. The other downside of it too is people could be like, oh, this thing's not that bad. Like, why go buy a new one?
Yeah, I this actually plays a role in the PC market too. We talk a lot about the many years of decline in the PC market and all the different reasons for it and blah, 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 whatever. But, one of the reasons that people don't talk about enough is that PCs kind of work, so they're not, I mean, people have these out-of-date notions of how terrible Windows PCs are. That stuff's not true, and the hardware is fantastic often. And
lasts a long time.
Yeah. So I think the upgrade cycle changes that you see in the smartphone world happen first in the PC world, and it's not gonna go back. No one's gonna buy a new PC every 2 years ever again, or 3 years, whatever it is. Like these things last like 7 years, or whatever the time frame is. So
yeah, I mean that's the real answer here is how old is the Surface Book 2? 3 years.
It's over 3. It's fine. I use that thing all the time. It's great.
I use it every day on this podcast, and it's yet to show really any major issues. So.
Yeah, I mean, and there are nice things they could do there that are obvious that everyone does every time they update a machine, right? The bezels could get smaller. You could do that kind of thing where you either shrink the form factor a little bit to match that, or you actually just put a bigger screen in the same form factor.
Yep.
Either one of those is a benefit, depending on your outlook on things. And that would be great. But the truth is, if you're using this thing that you already have that works great, it's like, whatever. So 3-4 years down the line, when someone who has one of those devices is finally ready to upgrade, they'll have that many years of, improvements to enjoy whenever that happens.
Yep. You got anything else for the day before we shut it down for the weekend?
Yeah, let's see. I don't think so, but wow. No, I started updating the Windows 10 Field Guide. I'm doing it quietly for now, but if you have the book and there'll be stuff over the next few days. I don't know. That's about it.
Yeah. Looks like we should have a good weekend here. I'm hoping to get some
yard
work
we're
done.
We're gonna try to do a social distancing in-person event this weekend. It's a flash mob. No, we're gonna storm the Capitol building in Harrisburg. Oh no, sorry. No, I think we're gonna have my brother and sister over and maintain our distance. Throw popcorn at them from across the patio or something.
Yeah, it's a good method for harassing the relatives and in-laws.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like 70 something tomorrow. So nice.
Starting to be sunny outside. I'm gonna finish this up, clean it up, go outside. We'll catch all of you right back here on Monday, maybe.
Yeah, Monday, whatever day that is.